welcome to the episode 14 of the First to Third podcast. Joining you tonight, Scott and Barrick. Just coming to you for a quick little episode tonight on this wonderful 4th of July evening. So hope you all have celebrated safely and responsibly, of course, as well, but also had a little bit of fun and enjoyed the time. So yeah, happy to be with you tonight, Barrick.
Yeah, man. Happy to do it. It's crazy. It's funny. I feel like all the holidays are usually supposed to be in the fall and winter, and I feel like we've had a ton of them recently where we've had
I
to
know.
kind of be handicapped, which is funny. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, this is gonna be fun. I hope everybody's had a good Fourth, and yeah, baseball is about the only big sporting event going on right now, so it's kind of taking center stage, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly enjoying that as always. It's a little less to keep up with in the personal life when you're having to juggle like college football, NFL,
Yeah.
basketball, the whole 9 yards. So this is kind of a nice
Although
time of the
a
year.
lot
So
of college football things are happening, but
true.
this is not a college
That is
football
true.
podcast. But
That is true. Yeah, but yeah, college sports in general seems to be up in flux right now. I mean, big talk right now in the baseball world with the transfer portal and all these guys
yep.
moving, and it'll be interesting to see how all that stuff shakes out once it's all said and done.
And who knows what conference they're going to be playing in? And I mean, it's
also true.
It's
also
nuts.
true.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Again, not to get on too much of a tangent here to start, but with these like buyouts where teams are buying out early to be able to go, I just find it fascinating. Like what's going to happen with that money? I don't know.
Well, I was reading some articles about how, like, if you're gonna, all these conferences are making so much more money than they used to, that, and it goes up every year, which is fine. But these new conferences, if you want to join a new conference, they're basically saying like, hey, you're going to make enough money to pay that buyout, so it's not a big deal. Like it's like,
yeah,
it's kind of like just when you get a new job, if you have to buy out your current job's contract, your new job kind of can pay for it, and that's kind of what the deal is. So, in a way, this is one of those examples where making a ton of money is kind of benefiting the teams, because it's allowing them to just say, yeah, we got a big giant buyout, but we're still going to make more money with this new conference, so it's worth it.
For sure. Yeah, it's just crazy, man.
Yeah,
just there's a lot of money being tossed around right now for sure. So
yeah.
Pretty
well,
crazy.
It does kind of tie into, and I don't want to throw off the agenda too much, but the idea of the change in the schedule for next year being a little bit more balanced in pro baseball, and because as our resident Oriole fan here, we it'd be really, it's going to be really, really nice not having to play as many games in the AL East next year, especially with our team getting a little bit better and starting to play better. And then you add the fact that we may not have to contend quite as much with the AL East. I mean, sometimes these kind of realignments of divisions can actually be a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I don't know. It'll be fascinating seeing all that stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty wild world for sure. So
that's it.
Well, in somewhat typical fashion, I guess we'll say
now. Let's start where we should.
Yeah, we'll do our quick stack bets recap. So for those of you who this may be the first time that you're tuning in, we wanted to create a fun way for us to have some competition here on the podcast between us. And so we've kind of developed our own little kind of betting system, so to speak. So we're not betting any real money. We're not, putting any real dollars out there. Mainly because half of us don't live in a state where that's even doable in the real world. So, let alone
and
the
other
podcast
ones that
world.
do are terrible at it. So,
yep. So we developed what we call stacks here, and so each week, if you participate, you're given 50 stacks, and ultimately at the end of it, we're looking to see who can have the most stacks at the end of it. So at the end of last week, I'll just run through these real quick. It was a little tough. It was a little tough. So I think Barrick, you popped in there. Orioles to have a winning record this week. I don't believe that hit.
freaking Twins.
2-3, and then 2-3 again. So, or 1-3 and 1-3. So yeah. So 2-6 on the weekend last week, not including today, of course. So, so unfortunately, Barrick, he put up 60 stacks that the Orioles were going to have a winning record. And
I felt good about that too, man. Like,
I know.
Oh,
So that means Barrick got no winnings from last week. So he ended last week with 50 stacks. He will start the segment later on in the episode with 100 stacks to bet this week. Drew, our resident sandbagger, I think at this point, he went into last week with quite a few stack bets or stacks, and he threw out four stack bets, 25 stacks each. He put up 25 that the Braves would win 4 more games and win both series last week. That hit. He said that Aaron Judge would have greater than an 850 OPS and the Yankees would win 4 more games. That did not happen. He had Mike Trout having a greater than an 850 OPS. That did not hit, sadly for him. And then he had Sandy Alcantara going 6 or more innings. That did hit. So Drew comes away with 100 stacks in winnings last week, and that pushes his balance to 390 to start to start the beginning this week. So yeah, he's doing all right. Kenny is still sitting there with 90 stacks, and let's see, Robbie last week he went all in. He had 95 stacks to play with. He went all in at the Braves. He started out wanting to go that the Braves were going to win 3 or more games. I told him a 2-1 payout. They were going to win 3 games. Didn't seem that good. So he bumped it up to 4, and the Braves still hit it. So
I was glad you said that, because I was that wasn't a good initial bet.
Yeah. So Robbie does double his stacks. He will start this week, or he ends last week with 190 stacks. I just tried to throw a stack bet out there to just get back on the board. I had built up a little bit of a stack bank there. I had 200 stacks, so I just went modest. I felt good about the Braves' schedule and how they've been playing. I figured a sweep of the Reds was going to be pretty doable, so I put up 50 stacks. They would win 5 of the 6 games that they had last week at least. And I'll be damned if the Reds didn't come back and win it. So not to spoil it, spoil our little recap later. But the Reds, unfortunately, do come back in the 8th and the 9th to end up taking the last game of the series and halting that stack bet from winning. So, yeah. So I will I finished last week with 150 stacks.
I'm convinced for the audience out there that the reason that's only you and me on here is because of the ashamed state that everybody is in because of their stack bets. So
yeah,
these for those that are following along at home, these have repercussions on our lives. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Licking the wounds. So,
kudos to us for showing our faces, though.
That's right. We're putting them out in the atmosphere, and we keep losing. So
there you go.
So that's probably a good time to just interject the typical weekly statement that you should probably not take any actual live sports betting advice from this podcast.
Go the other way. Whatever we say, go the other way.
But gamble responsibly, all that kind of stuff, and only if it's legal in your state as well. So who knows? Maybe North Carolina will get their stuff together and we'll figure it out. So even though I did spend a good week last week in the state of Virginia, where I was able to bet, and I did put a few things out there, so it was good. So
there you go. Yeah, getting a little tight.
Yeah, that's right. So to start the segment a little later on, Barrick will have 100 stacks available. Drew will have 440 stacks. Kenny is still sitting at 90. Robbie has 190. And then after adding 50 for this week, I will be sitting at 200. So So kind of a still, we're starting to group together a little bit more. We need Drew to kind of, take some losses here for a couple weeks and see what happens. But yeah, so we'll see if we can get back on track here shortly. So, anything else you want to share on the stack bet recaps there?
No, just we need to kind of pick it up. I mean, like if
Yeah.
it wasn't for Drew, we would be we would be a sorry bunch. So I think it's
Yeah.
safe that anybody out there that actually does place bets, just like I said, go the other way of us.
Yeah. Fade the podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny. Well, that'll hop us over into our next topic here. As always, we'll hop into the Braves talk. The Braves finish off a mighty impressive June. I believe last I looked, they finished June 21-6. That's a good month. That's pretty solid. They go on the 14-game win streak to start the month. And then, they do finish the rest of the month at that point, technically 7-6, which you kind of hate to see that, but they did string together still some pretty solid wins throughout. So again, by far nothing to complain about at all. Last week they have 6 games, and they're able to go 4-2, win both of the series. They had 3 against the Phillies and 3 against the Reds, both on the road. So obviously, anytime you can have, 4 road victories in a week, I think we're always gonna take that.
Absolutely.
So and again, being able to pick up 2 wins against in division, opponents in the Phillies, especially in Philadelphia, always going to love that as well.
Absolutely.
So again, the Braves just continuing to stay hot. They were able to shrink the Mets lead at the beginning of the month of June. The Mets lead was 10.5 games. I don't know exactly where it stood, at the end of May. In June. But as of start of play today, they were 2.5 games back. Anytime you can make up 8 games in the division in 1 month is pretty solid.
Yeah.
So, if the Braves can either obviously overtake them by the All-Star break, that would be great. But if we're still hanging around this 2.5, 1 game kind of lead by the time the All-Star break hits, I'm gonna feel pretty good about where the Braves are and where the season's kind of at, from that point.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: what do you? And I know it's kind of like an open-ended, hard question to answer, but just since the kind of taking this past week into consideration, how the Braves did, what's our level of confidence that they can keep it going? And more not just for this coming week, but over the next couple of weeks. Are we? You think this success that they're having is sustainable, or do you think there's going to be some bumps in the road down the way? Or
yeah, so I think any team is obviously there's going to be a run stretch there where we may drop 3 and 4 games. I think it's pretty improbable for us to continue to expect them to win 8 out of 10 games pretty consistently. But, I think the starting pitching staff is going to go a long way in terms of what they can do from a consistency standpoint. That staff didn't really seem to have an identity at the beginning of the season. And now I think it's really starting to take shape. So, obviously, Max Fried is having an elite Cy Young level type season. Ian Anderson has just continued to be that consistent, just go out there every 5 days and give you what you need. Kyle Wright has been a big surprise, I think, so far this season in terms of his growth and where he was. So that's really solidified things. And then, of course, you've had Charlie Morton, who is, the vet, of the rotation. And he has gone out there and has not always had true success as it translates to maybe on paper statistics. But he's gone out there and battled, and he's really kept the team in a lot of games, and he's won some games, that were, pretty grinded out games as well. And then, of course, you can't say much, else about Spencer Strider stepping into that fifth spot in the rotation so far. Again, starting the season out in the bullpen, I think, because of his, inexperience and what he was looking at coming into the season, they kind of wanted him to become more of a bullpen type arm. but he really capitalized on the opportunity to get some spot starts. And man, he has just looked so good. He touched 102.2 in a start against the Reds earlier last week. So I mean, and it's just he looks so effortless when he's on the mound, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah,
when you've got a guy throwing that hard,
yeah.
I like to see that it doesn't feel like he's putting everything he possibly has behind it, even though he might
feels
be.
like he can keep it going. It feels like something that
Exactly.
he can, like keep sustaining, and that's
Yep.
big.
Yeah. So again, just he had a start this week. He goes 6 innings, gives up 1 hit, has 1 run, 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts. So that means he did hit a batter as well. So he allowed 3 people to get on base in 6 innings. I mean, phenomenal stuff there. So
Yeah.
And again, he seems very poised. He seems very in control of his emotions. Again, I know we're talking about regular season baseball, postseason baseball is a whole different animal, but at the same time, I think just there are some guys I think that are out there that just are able to keep things in perspective. They're able to temper emotions, keep things in check. And to be honest, he really does feel like that type of player to me, watching him pitch. So.
And I think the Braves, I think what you guys have going for you more from like a, kind of zooming out kind of view. You guys have got, it feels like a pretty experienced team because there's a lot of
Yeah.
guys that, came back from last year. So they kind of know what it takes, if you will. And,
Yep.
but I think that matters. I think you got a team that, knows how to keep it together and knows what, it takes to get there. And then you've got, like you said, a pretty talented pitching staff. I think when you got those two things, those are 2 big aspects I think are going to take you a long way, which is why I kind of think, the Braves recipe is going to be sustainable, for a pretty nice run here
Yeah.
as we go forward. Just they've got, stable pitching that's really pitching good. You expect, even if you have 1 or 2 guys that start to dip, you got other guys that can kind of come in and pick them up, and you got guys that have the right mindset. That's going to be a big part of it. That's big for the Braves.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. Obviously, everybody deals with the injury bug in some way, shape, or form. And the Mets, haven't been, immune to that at all to start their season.
True,
Looks like they're gonna be getting a couple of their big arms back here shortly. Again, not to jump too far ahead, but Scherzer and DeGrom making some rehab starts and appearances here lately. So, again, I think that's going to be big for the Braves if they can stay healthy. Unfortunately, this week, Kenley Jansen goes to the IR, 15-day DL. The same issue that's kind of been, following him most of his career is this irregular heartbeat issue that he has going. I don't think I've really seen anything come out where they've put a cause on it. I could have missed it, but obviously that's pretty scary anytime that you're, dealing with something like that. So
it's hard to say because it could be a couple different things, but like the first thing that comes to mind is maybe he has some like atrial fibrillation, which is basically where your heart, beats at irregular rates.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that can, like in young people, it can be caffeine, intake. And I know like with a lot of ball players, I'm not saying that he's taking like stimulants,
Sure.
illegal ones, but just like, things like caffeine pills or stuff like that could bring it on. Sometimes, sometimes it's genetic. Maybe there's something,
Sure.
with his family. But yeah, that's one of those things where it's tough because like it's not like life threatening or anything, but at the same time, you don't want to put a player out there that has an irregular heartbeat and it's going to be putting strain on his heart by playing. So, and the hard thing is that it's the key word is irregular. It comes and goes, so it can be kind of hard to. It's not like a strained muscle where like once you start feeling better, you're probably going to be good to go. This irregular heartbeat might keep him out for a while because it could just keep coming and going, which is rough. So I hope they know exactly what it is and can maybe get him on some medication to even that out. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with him.
Yeah. Well, and I'd also even, bear to wonder, if it's one of those situations where, like the position that he plays, being the closer, that ninth inning, getting those last 3 outs, there's got to be a huge shot of adrenaline that just hits your body, and that obviously could potentially not be too great for someone who's dealing with an irregular heartbeat.
That's a great point, because I was going to say originally, like with him being a pitcher, it's better than him being like a center fielder or something, having to run all over the place and really get the heart rate going. But yeah, you're right. As a closer, you still get that adrenaline because it's not from necessarily physical activity, but it's almost mental stress. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. I just did a quick search to just see if I did have anything, and it is atrial fibrillation, is what it looks like.
God, it makes me feel so smart, man.
And I think he and from what I'm seeing here, I believe that he had surgery a while ago, a few years ago, to try to fix or do something.
So they try to do an ablation where they basically take an electrode and try to basically you almost think of it as like soldering, like they try and solder this area to get rid of it, and it's a lot of times it works, but it sounds like for him maybe not quite the job it needed to do. But
yeah, so it looks like it happened back in November 26th of 2018 is when he underwent the heart surgery. And again,
the good news with AFib is that there's lots of medications to control that.
Yeah.
So that might be the best. If we're talking about irregular heartbeats, that might be the best one to have, because we got the most medications to treat it. So he may be back a lot quicker just because of that, which is good news for the Braves, of course, and him.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see how everything shakes out, but the bullpen is obviously, I think, been a little bit of the sore subject over the last couple weeks, where some of those losses did occur. Unfortunately, that's where the injury bug seems to have hit. We did just get Tyler Matzik back from some shoulder inflammation today. Eddie Rosario also rejoined the team and actually made a start tonight after having the laser eye surgery done at the beginning of the season. So they are getting some healthy pieces back, which is super great to hear. Adam Duvall did get hit by a pitch late in the game Saturday and sat out Sunday, but it seems to be he's going to be fine. It was just kind of a day-to-day thing, so he wasn't playing tonight, just to give him some rest. But again, I think all in all, the Braves have been pretty healthy, which has helped. Obviously, Ozzie Albies going down is a big one with the broken foot, and we'll see how quickly he can come back from that. But I think the Braves are in a good spot if we can shore up that bullpen just a little bit and stay healthy. I agree with you. The offense seems to be good enough right now that they can push them through.
So with the bullpen, do you think they go after somebody to try and strengthen that a little bit, but before the trade deadline?
I don't know. It's really hard to tell. AJ Minter, we leaned on him heavily at the start of this season, and he answered the call and seemed to be making some huge strides. But his last few starts that he's gone out there, he's starting to get touched up a little bit. So I think he just needs to make a little bit of an adjustment and find his groove a little bit. So I think it's all going to depend on if the Braves can figure out a way to get some pieces back while some guys are also trying to figure some stuff out. Because I don't know where they would really turn. They could probably, in my opinion, use a good right-handed arm. Jackson Stevens, I like him. I really like his story of battling back and playing through in the Mexican League, last year, and just even making it back to the big leagues. But he at times has been a little inconsistent. Darren O'Day, shout out to your Orioles. I mean, he's an old school Oriole.
Former Oriole.
He's really good to come in a spot where you just need to give the team a different look, but he's by no means going to overpower a team. And, I don't think the Braves are probably putting him in some pretty high leverage type situations. So really right now, the only kind of right-handed arm that's coming out of that bullpen in some tough spots is Colin McHugh. And he has had some struggles as of late as well. He gave up the runs on Sunday in the loss to the Reds. So, again,
part of the reason
tough,
I ask is because I wonder if you guys go after Jorge Lopez, our Oriole guy. He's been phenomenal, and the nice thing about him is you can use him as basically any part of the bullpen. Maybe not, middle relief, but setup and closer for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So I was kind of wondering if you guys might be a suitor for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jesse Chavez is still sitting down there as well, and he fluctuates between kind of being middle relief and long relief. They'll bring him in every now and then when they need somebody to eat up some innings. So again, it's not really somebody that's coming out in a high leverage situation. A lot of our high leverage guys right now are lefties: Tyler Matzik, Will Smith, AJ Minter.
Not that Will Smith.
So yeah, a different one. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And again, there's still some untapped arms in their minor league system. So who knows if some of those guys get a call? I don't know what the answer is, but offhand, there doesn't feel like a huge arm sitting on the trade block that's like we need to go get him kind of deal. So I am very interested to see what Alex Anthopoulos does at this trade deadline. We've talked several podcasts now as we lead up to this deadline on July 31st, end of this month, about moves we think he could make. But so far, nothing has kind of matriculated, and we all know, that trade fire really starts getting stoked the closer we get to that deadline. So we'll see. And the Braves are not in a position like they were last year, where they made a lot of moves pretty early in the trade season.
Yeah.
But that's because they couldn't afford to kind of have a losing July. They really needed to turn it around for almost the whole month of July. Whereas this year, I think we are in a much more better position of like, we can kind of, tread water as we get closer. And a team like the Royals, for instance, who are looking to possibly move a Whit Merrifield or someone like that. And now all of a sudden there's a urgency, and urgency creates some compromise sometimes. So we'll see. I think the Braves are in a much better leverage situation this year than they were last year, even though the moves that Alex pulled off last year, just absolutely phenomenal, as we all know, looking back on the history. So just in kind of looking at some statistics for the week, Dansby continues to stay real hot. And I know this doesn't go into this week's recap of things, but the Braves were just playing the Cardinals on Monday Night Baseball here, unfortunately now in a rain delay. But Dansby hit a grand slam, so love to see that, and go from there. But
he's about as hot as our Louisiana summers down here, man.
Yeah. Ooh. Need to sign him ASAP, because a lot of folks don't know that he's a free agent at the end of this season. So would love to get him re-signed here quickly. But last week he goes 7 for 26, hit 269, had 2 doubles, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, did have 8 strikeouts, which, again, it's not terrible, but he didn't walk any, which I typically don't like to see, not walking in that position. But nonetheless, Austin Riley has another really good week. 2 more home runs, had 10 hits. He hit 435 with a 1.326 OPS. He only struck out 4 times and had 3 walks. So seeing him cut down that strikeout rate is absolutely amazing to see. Ozuna's bat woke up finally a little bit. He put up 2 home runs in the game Sunday against the Reds, unfortunately ending in a loss. And then our rookie sensation, Michael Harris, has himself a decent week. He also hit 2 home runs and had 5 RBIs, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a stolen base. He did only hit 190. So, but really, any production from him at this point is kind of a cherry, like we've talked about. He is really there to solidify that center field defense, and that's exactly what he's done. So, let's see. Also, just to, as we've mentioned, Eddie Rosario and Tyler Matzik are back with the Braves coming off the injury list. And the Braves did put Kenley, as I mentioned, on the 15-day DL. And then in a interesting move, the Braves traded a longtime prospect and kind of somewhat Braves journeyman in Touki Toussaint to the Angels. I'm not sure what exactly the Braves got back for him. Let's see here. Cash, basically. So they had yeah, sorry. I knew they had designated him for assignment, and so which typically will just mean he'll go onto a waiver list, and then if a team claims him, the teams try to work out a trade. But honestly, at this point in the season, a lot of times those guys just go unclaimed, and then they can sign as a free agent for nothing. The Angels apparently must like something that they see to have claimed him, and then the Braves are going to get a little bit of cash out of it, which is never a bad thing. So
I think it's funny though, like just not to get on a tangent, but I just think it's funny how baseball is the only sport where you literally can just sell people. You're just like, we just want cash for this guy. Like, I mean,
yeah,
that's so weird to me. Like, I never understood that, but.
Well, and what's even funnier is like they don't even disclose it half the time. It just it says literally what that says, and it just says cash considerations. It's like, okay.
So weird.
But I've liked Tukey for a long time, but his MO, unfortunately, in his time with Atlanta, is just consistency just hasn't been there. So he made various appearances in Atlanta starting in 2018 through 2019, 2020, and 2021. In his career, he made 21 starts and pitched in 49 games. He was 9-6 with a 5.46 ERA. He pitched 145 innings and gave up 88 earned runs, 155 strikeouts, which is pretty good. You're having some swing and miss stuff, but his average against was 243, which he just never he would have starts where he looks great. He goes 5-6 innings, phenomenal. He comes out the next start, gives up 6 or 7 runs in 2 innings, and just can't seem to figure something out. So I don't know. I liked him a lot as a player. I think he's a good follow on social media. I definitely hope he finds some success out there in LA. This is one of those things where I do kind of like baseball gets the bad rap, with the whole player control, the 6 years and that kind of stuff. So he has been kind of a Braves, journeyman over the last few seasons. This is one of those, like, I am excited for him to kind of get out of that Braves system and see what can happen. So, so we definitely, hope the best for him. Hope he can figure, some stuff out and kind of go from there. It looks like the Angels assigned him to the Salt Lake Bees, which is their AAA team there in Salt Lake City. So could be worse places to be than Salt Lake City in the summertime, I guess.
Yeah, and the Angels are a team that they could use his help. So if he puts it together in AAA, he could definitely get a chance with the major league team for sure.
Absolutely. That's a team that needs pitching. So I believe, was it them last year or the year before that took like 25 pitchers with all of their draft picks or something crazy?
I wouldn't surprise me, but they're definitely a team that was a good spot for him to land in for sure.
So wish him all the best. So anything else on Braves talk that you want to add there?
It'd be exciting to see if they keep this up. I mean, like you said, they're running hot, and it'll be fun to watch what happens over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that takes us into your favorite time of the show, Orioles talk. The Orioles did kind of rear their head just a little bit this week, just a little bit, but they were also playing a couple good teams. So,
well, and here's the thing too: 2 of their losses were ninth inning, I don't want to say giveaways, but they took it to the 9th inning and lost it. So I actually think it was a better week than the statistics show. They they played some good teams, and they played them to the 9th inning usually. I think though the funny thing is today they won right in extra innings, but the way that they won the game kind of exemplifies the entire Orioles season so far. So they win on a bases loaded hit by pitch in the extra innings. And I think that's exactly what the Orioles are, right? So they're finding ways to win, and people are, if you're paying attention, you're surprised by it. You're like, well, the Orioles are actually, winning some games, but they're doing it in just like in the weirdest ways and with like every tool they can possibly come with. They're not dominating anybody, but they're just kind of scratching and clawing. And it's actually a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch because again, we talked about this maybe a month ago where, they're a team that they're having fun. They're really, I think it's a group that enjoys playing together, and they have enough young guys that are infusing energy and these kind of things. Like, I mean, their celebration after Jorge Mateo took to the hit win was just, I mean, they loved it. They went crazy. So, and again, they're not exactly in contention for the division necessarily. So, they're still having fun and doing it, and I'm all of their young prospects are just seem to be doing better and better. Adley's getting better and better every week. He's starting to even develop some of the leadership things that people are expecting from him, and he's already doing that at a really early time. So I think that's super exciting. Ryan Mountcastle is, again, if anybody out there hasn't watched him, just watch a couple games or even just some clips of him. He really knows what to do with a bat, and so I mean, again, if you look at the stats and the win column, maybe not the best week, but I was actually I'm pretty impressed and hopeful about it. I think they got a chance. I definitely feel good about them eclipsing our over under on wins for the year. I think they're going to keep it up. Yes, there's going to be some change up at the trade deadline, but man, they're finally a fun team to watch. They really are. And that's for a Baltimore, fan. That's been a long time since we could say that. We, in our group chat, we talked about how this past month was June was the first month since 2017 that they've had a winning month. And that's
which
nuts.
Is crazy.
But I mean, it kind of shows you just how, like, if you are an Orioles fan or a fan of any team that's kind of been in the dumps, but I think Baltimore has been probably the worst over the last 5 to 7 years.
For sure.
It's just like when you think about it, just like a winning month, just how much better that makes you feel as a fan. And so I hope they keep it going. It's slowly starting to take shape, but I think they're heading in the right direction. I'm having fun with it.
Yeah. Well, and I think, as you mentioned, it's like when you have a lot of youth and young players who are just enjoying being in the big leagues. That's when you start to see the fun kind of coming out on the field. And that's what I think a lot of the fans really love to see is like just people having fun playing the game of baseball. And I think that's where we lose fans a lot of times is when stuff gets too serious. Obviously, when you get to the playoffs, that's a whole different ballgame. But in these kind of dog days of summer where you're just grinding, it's hot, have some fun, just enjoy the game. So yeah, I agree.
And I think it leads to wins. Like, I really do. Like, I feel like you're playing loose and you're not worried about making mistakes. And I think that's part of the reason that they're getting some wins out of it. And I mean, if I was close to Baltimore, I think it'd be fun to get to Camden and watch them play, because they're finally putting a product on the field that's competitive.
Yeah, for sure. And as you mentioned, I mean, to be completely honest, you're just a handful of outs away from really sweeping the Twins. They scored 2 runs in the ninth ninth inning in the first 2 games of that series to walk off win. We're having a whole different conversation if you lose the 2 to the Mariners, but you sweep the Twins in Minnesota, that's a big deal. So, again, and we're only talking about a handful of outs being the difference, in there. So I agree. It's the Orioles have been, I think, a pleasant surprise for this podcast, but I think for a majority of baseball. And like you mentioned, they've just got some really good stories on there. I've become a really big fan of Austin Hayes. He unfortunately didn't have a very good week this week, but that's fine. He's going to turn it around. We'll be good. So,
yeah. Oh, he definitely will. And defensively, he's still
so
a
good.
monster. Like,
he is
so much fun to watch him. Ryan McKenna made some pretty nice plays this week, and he's somebody that they kind of rotate into the outfield. The Orioles actually have a lot of really good outfield talent, and so McKenna is one of those that doesn't get quite as much playing time, but he showed some really good leather this week, which was nice to see. I'm sure he was ecstatic to get some playing time. So yeah, it's Cedric Mullins is really,
Yep.
I mean, he's like, God, this week he was owning center field. There wasn't, you hit it anywhere in that vicinity, and he was all over the place. So again, if anybody has some free time, just go watch some of the clips from this past week. He made some incredible catches. And so yeah, they've got some guys that are fun to watch, and I think they'll keep it going. Just kind of fun to see where it goes. We just gotta. I wish we could get traded to another division. That's my only wish.
Yeah. The Orioles. I feel like this. I don't want this to come across as an insult because it's not meant to be one at all. But
we're used to them.
The Orioles right now remind me of that team when you're like playing a video game and you're like, this team shouldn't be good, but all of a sudden you like simulate through a season and they like win the division and you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's what they remind me of.
Individually, you look at all of them and they're just like, but then like for some reason the secret sauce just kind of melts together when they play together. Yeah, that's exactly right. There's no reason they should be. There's probably no reason that they should have the number of wins that they do now, just because they're not, they're so young and there's not a lot of the pitching is just, so schizophrenic. Like, who knows what you're going to get out of that. But yeah, it's been fun. We'll have to keep an eye on it. And it's nice that, for the podcast that we've been able to, have something good. If we were doing this last year, it just would have been a depressing section every week. So I'm glad that we're I think they heard that we were doing a podcast. Maybe they started let's start winning some games here, guys. So
there you go.
That's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. It has been a lot of fun talking to them. Again, I think we mentioned this last week or a couple weeks ago, but just between the stack bets and us doing the podcast, it's really, I think, made a lot of us pay attention to some other teams that we wouldn't have necessarily paid attention to. And it's honestly made baseball pretty fun so far this year. And so it's been a fun journey kind of following along with the Orioles and again, amassing 37 wins so far through the season. So today actually marks for most teams the exact midway point of the year, 81 games through the season. So the Orioles are sitting here through 81 games with 37 wins. So they are currently on pace for 74. They would go 74 and 88, I think. If my math is right.
How about that, you haters? Yeah.
So, and we were picking them to go less than 60. So,
yeah, man, I'm telling you,
that's a big swing. That's a big swing.
Yes, sir.
So love it.
But you know what? You're right though, because like baseball in general, I think a lot of times you talk about or read about how it's become such a regional sport. You only pay attention to the team in your area. You don't know else, and I think that's true. But yeah, doing a podcast, whether you're a part of it or listening to it, I think it does open your ears and eyes to a lot of other teams you don't otherwise pay attention to. And I think that's actually essential for the game of baseball. Like in order to grow, it needs to become more like the NFL, where you can talk about just about any team just because you're up on all of them. And I think baseball needs to move that way.
Yep, for sure. It's a lot of fun. Cool. We'll transition to kind of into some MLB news. We honestly kind of shared quite a bit of it through our different updates of some different things. I think big headlines this week was that Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom made some rehab starts. Jacob deGrom in his first, I think it was today, it may have been yesterday, the first hitter he throws, 99 black. And I'm just like, okay.
He's like, I'm ready.
Yeah. And that poor minor league hitter that had to face him, I'm sure was less than ecstatic, but he also may have thoroughly enjoyed it. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Something he can
It's
tell
a
his
story
kids
he
for
gets
sure
to
one
tell
day.
down the road.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, but nonetheless, that's kind of the big news. I didn't realize this as well, but Trevor May in their bullpen has also been sidelined since mid to early May. So he has also started throwing some bullpens this week. So that's 3 pretty big arms that they're looking to add back to their pitching rotation and their bullpen here soon. Other big
And I think for the
story.
Mets, like that's a
Go ahead.
good, that's like a good example of, working through the adversity. We talked about the Braves. Can they keep this going? And, it's
100%.
all dependent on injuries, but I think the Mets are a good blueprint to follow. Injuries are going to happen. They've worked through it. They're still, doing well in the win-loss column. So that's you kind of tip your hat to them, and you hope that the Braves can follow the same kind of pathway if they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The other kind of story that was going around involving Max Scherzer was, I believe, the last rehab start or last game that he was going to be with the AAA team. He treated the team to a clubhouse dinner, which is pretty common that MLB guys will do this on rehab starts. But he dropped a cool $7,000. Apparently, the boys were eating fillets, ribeyes, lobster tail.
There we go.
They were living the high life. So kudos to him. He also gave everyone AirPods. So apparently they showed up on that day, and the clubhouse attendant was just handing out AirPods, saying these are from Max. So, kudos to him, just being a good dude.
Absolutely.
And it's really cool to see because he was one of the prominent faces. If you think back to the MLB lockout and all the stuff that was happening, and he was one of the perennial faces that was saying, like, we're fighting for the younger guys. And it's very easy for these MLB guys to get very narrow and tunnel focused back when the season starts on, blinders on, MLB players don't exist. So, again, did it help that he was down there on a rehab start? I'm sure. But he still had enough awareness about him that he's down there. This is a good treat. This is a good opportunity for him to show these guys, hey, this is how you grow the game. This is how you continue to invest in your organization from a major leaguer to the minor league system. So again, I'd say big kudos to him and just kind of being a class dude on that. So
yeah, he walked the walk.
That's right. That's right. That's all you can ask for most of the time these days. So,
it's rare.
Good to see it. There's a few other injury things out there. I saw Eloy Jimenez, who had like a grade 3 strain of his hamstring a few weeks ago. Apparently has had really good rehab. He is slated to possibly rejoin the White Sox here in the next week or two. So good for him on that. And then just, again, we're just in the time of the year. Guys are getting banged up. Juan Soto, I think, fouled a ball off his leg or got hit by a pitch or something. He sat out, I think, yesterday just as a precaution. So we're just in that time of year where guys are going to show up on that injury report pretty consistently, just dealing with, the grind of a 162-game season. So, just kind of is what it is on that.
Yeah.
Anything else stick out to you this week?
No, I think we hit everything. Kind of a slow weakness kind of in the news.
Yeah.
The news world, but I mean, you're going to get those weeks, especially in the summer like this. So,
for sure. Well, we haven't done it in a couple weeks, so I figure this episode may be a good time. We'll just take a quick look at standings, take a quick peek at how our preseason predictions are doing in those divisions as well, just to see what our our preseason forecast is looking like. So we'll start in the AL East. Obviously, New York just running away with that division, which is just honestly pretty ridiculous. They are 58-22. I mean, damn near close to winning 60 games before the 81 midseason mark is just absolutely ridiculous. I guess technically that is only 80 games. So if they win one more, they would technically have gone 59-22 through 81 games, which is just absurd. Boston has made quite a run in that division. They were at one point actually below the Orioles, I think, back in May. And they now sit in the second spot with a 45-35 record. Toronto is in third with a 44-36 record. Tampa Bay 43-37, and then the Orioles at 37-44. So again, they're not that far off in that division. The Yankees obviously being an outlier, like they're 22 games back of the Yankees, but like, I mean, Jesus, just whatever.
Everybody's behind the Yankees, so
yeah.
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
if they were in the AL Central, they would only be 7 games out of first place. So
how about that?
Is what it is. So, New York is leading that division. Preseason, nobody on the podcast picked the Yankees to be winning that division. Which
don't we all kind of feel I feel kind of dumb about that. But,
I do too. Yeah, pretty wild. 4 out of the 6 of us picked the Rays to win that division. Robbie and Kenny picked the Blue Jays to win that division.
But I think that's a good example of us getting like trying to get a little too cute. The Rays and the Blue Jays have been playing well, getting better. But to take that next step to overtake the Yankees and the Red Sox, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
and
on a consistent basis too.
Yeah, and I think the Yankees have come back and we're just like, hey, just y'all chill out. We're still the Yankees. So
yeah, for sure.
Now they have to do it in the postseason. That's
right.
Do that. So
that's right. Moving over to the AL Central, Minnesota is winning that division with a 45-37 record. Cleveland is in second with a 40-37 record. I may need to double check that. The fact that Cleveland has played 5 less games than Minnesota seems a bit odd, but nonetheless, the White Sox still kind of trying to find their footing after some very early season injury issues. Sit 1 game below 500 at 38-39.
Detroit, they've been a weird team.
They've been a weird team. Detroit 31-47, and then Kansas City 29-49. Have not had a very good year.
Can I just say though that the White Sox, they may have been a weird team, but those city or whatnot uniforms that they oh my gosh, like I wanted to buy one myself and just wear it like the grocery store, like the shirt, the pants, the hat, everything. Just be like, hey, yeah, what's up? Yeah. I mean, they were nice.
Yeah. That has been one of my favorite things of the MLB season so far this year are these City Connect jerseys.
I'm so mad Baltimore doesn't have one.
Well, I think they're all coming out with them in stages, right? Like,
yeah, but I don't think all the teams were selected. I think I could be wrong, but I think they only selected a few, like a select number of teams, and they're coming out in phases. But I don't think every team is getting one.
Okay, all right. Well, I wish that I had a little bit of extra money in my pocket right now because, like you said, I've liked all of them. There's been a few kind of weird ones, so to speak, but I don't know. It would be cool to have a closet full of those and just rock one of those here and there as we
like the Nationals one was really nice too with the cherry blossoms. That's a pretty one. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're doing them in stages. So last year, 7 teams got City Connect jerseys, and 7 more happened this season. So yeah, weirdly, and you would think with the Braves winning the World Series, they would have been included on that, but they are not on this list for this year. So
yeah, but these teams may have been picked years ago.
That's true.
That's true.
So yeah, well, that just gives me a lot more to look forward to because that Braves one. That may have to be a must-purchase item when that comes out. So maybe the Braves
plan on doing like 7 every year or something like that.
I guess, yeah. Which 7's an odd number because there's 30 teams. So does that mean they're going to not have? Maybe they were going to do 7, 7, and then 8 and 8. Maybe they're going to do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Braves and the Orioles will come out in the same year, and we can nab those at the same time. So
yeah, absolutely.
Because I would be pretty jealous if you got to rock your Orioles one before I got to rock the Braves one. So
I just pray it's a good one because there would be nothing more disappointing than like waiting for that and it turning out to be like which team was it? It was it wasn't the Angels. I don't know. There was one team, maybe it was the Padres. There's one team where the jersey looked like about the same as their normal one, and I was just like, oh, it's like that.
I think
That's
it was
really
the
lame.
Angels.
So
Yeah.
maybe it was the Angels. I can't remember. Yeah, one of the teams were just like, it kind of looks like a normal jersey that they wear. Like that's boring. So that would be the worst. That's the only thing I'm hoping doesn't happen for the Orioles.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 out of the 6 of us picked the White Sox to win that AL Central division. Kenny was the Lone Ranger with the Twins in that division. So, kind of looking like a genius
So
right now.
he might be looking good right now, but I think he would say that he can't feel good about it for the long run. So
yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if Cleveland has enough to hold on for the rest of the season stretch, but to be honest, I mean, Chicago, they just don't feel like they're making a run anytime soon either. So I don't know. That division,
I don't know. Like they're the team that I feel like if they could just put it together, I feel like they're the ones that could make a run. I mean, and I don't have any necessarily proof behind that, but I just think they have the talent that if they figure it out, that they can make a run at it. That's the team I would look out for. But
yeah, we'll see. The AL West, we'll run through them pretty quick. Houston is winning that division, 52-27. Seattle has made a really good run here the last kind of month or so as well, 39-42. Texas, 37-41. The Angels, man, have they fallen from grace. No pun intended on that, I guess, but 37-44. And then Oakland, pulling up the rear of the whole league, 26-55. Just not looking great there.
We can table this for another time, but like, what are the percentage chances that Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout at the end of this year are saying, "Hey, we're requesting a trade"? I feel like that's something that has to be coming soon.
Mike Trout, I don't think really can, because he just made the decision to sign that huge deal to stay there. Now that may have been he had big belief in Joe Madden and the team that he was going to put together. I don't know.
I don't think that would stop him from if he was fed up. I don't think that would stop him at all.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he's beloved out there, but it is still, to me, one of the black eyes of baseball that one of your best players of all time, not just now, but of all time, has never played in a playoff game. My brain doesn't comprehend that. So
yeah.
So with the AL West, we were all over the place as a podcast. Ryan, you and Ryan picked the Astros to win that division. Robbie and Drew picked the Angels to win that division.
How's that feel?
Kenny picked the Rangers to win that division, and I picked the Mariners to win that division. So Astros look like they've got a pretty good stronghold on that, so we'll see what happens there. Hopping over to the NL real quick. New York continues to lead the AL East with a 49-30 record. The Braves, like we mentioned, not far behind, 46-34. Philadelphia, 42-38. Miami, 38-40. They're on a 5-game win streak right now. They look really good. A lot of young talent down there. Will be interesting to see what happens at the trade deadline for them. And Washington pulling up the rear with a 29-53 record. I'm just going to run through the rest of them. We'll talk about our predictions here in a second. The NL Central, Milwaukee leading the division 47-35. The Cardinals close behind with a 44-37 record. Pittsburgh, kind of a surprise darling in that division right now in third place, 32-47. O'Neal Cruz looks like he is fixing to be a perennial all-star in Major League Baseball. The Chicago Cubs, 32-48. Cincinnati, not far from Oakland with a 27-51 record. And then in the NL West, the Dodgers are winning that division 49-29 record. San Diego in second with a 47-34 record. San Francisco not far behind them, 40-37. And then Arizona and Colorado are currently tied at the bottom, 35-44. I don't think there's going to be many surprises in these. Ryan and you, again, lockstep with the Giants to win that division. The rest of us picked the Dodgers. Again, we're going to see. Teams got to stay healthy. You never know what's going to happen. NL Central, Ryan, Robbie, and myself picked the Brewers to win that division, and Drew, Kenny, and you picked the Cardinals to win that division. So the young Bucks versus the old Bucks on that one. That's going to be a 2-team race. I think they're going to go back and forth. That division, like it usually always does, will probably be decided in the last weekend of the year.
Yeah.
And then the NL East, 4 of us picked the Braves. Kenny went rogue and picked the Phillies, and you picked the Mets. So you're hanging on there. So yeah, we're not doing terrible. There's a few surprises happening out there. So nobody
I like how most of our picks are varied. You know, there's not a lot of everybody kind of has different picks on it. So it's going to be fun to see what the final number is as far as who gets the most right. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, looking at this, like everybody's pretty much in the same spot too. There's no clear person right now that kind of has, I would say, a stronghold on what's going to happen. Yeah. Because it's like you could say like Robbie and Ryan are sitting pretty good, but they're only in the NL. Like Robbie, for instance, right now, no, he doesn't. I'll take that back because he's got 2 out of the 3. So yeah, anyway, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So,
it's going to be a tight race to the end, folks.
That's right. That's right. All right. Just kind of, again, for the sake of time, we'll kind of jump through. So next kind of segment, player and players of the week. We've been hitting on these pretty good with MLB baseball, so we'll see if we can kind of hit another one. We were all pretty much in agreement on these this week. There kind of felt like 2 pretty clear-cut winners. I'll let you throw in any Orioles that you want to for the week.
Yeah, boy.
In that. But for position player of the week this week, we're putting out Rhys Hoskins of the Phillies. He hit .421 this week. He had 8 total hits, 2 doubles, 4 home runs, 5 RBIs, had 5 walks and 3 Ks. Just a stellar week. And I mean, 6 of his 8 hits this week were extra base hits. So, I mean, kudos to you. Our pitcher of the week went to Brandon Woodruff of the Milwaukee Brewers. He goes 2-0 on the week with a .82 ERA. He pitched 11 innings, had 8 hits, only gave up 1 run, but had 18 strikeouts in those 11 innings and had a .73 whip. So, welcome back, Brandon Woodruff. So, yeah, it's a good week. Good week. You have any Orioles of mention you want to throw in there?
I'm throwing Cedric Mullins in there. I think last year he had literally a historic year. Had a lot to live up to this year, and I think he's finally this past week really starting to show that he's kind of getting back to being the player that everybody knew he could be. A little bit more in the field than at the plate, but he's still doing pretty good there too. So I think kudos to him for having a good week, and hopefully he keeps it going.
Yeah, love it. So next Sunday, July the 10th, the MLB All-Stars were going to be announced. We will be putting out some podcast player picks of who we think is going to make the All-Star team, where we see that kind of stuff coming. So be on the lookout on our social media pages, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff for us kind of getting that information and that stuff out there. And I'm sure we will have plenty to talk about next week with those All-Star rosters being announced. We're also going to have essentially a full dive into the All-Star teams, home run derby, the whole 9 yards. So we're getting coming up into a really fun time of the year for baseball with the trade deadline, the All-Star break, all kinds of good stuff coming. So definitely be on the lookout for that stuff as we get a little closer there. All right. Stack bets for the week, Barrick. So Drew did actually go ahead and give me his stack bets. So I will go ahead and share those if you want to get kind of your thoughts and stuff together. So Drew kind of going big again this week, has 4 to put out there. He's putting up 50 stacks that the Braves are going to win 4 or more games this week. He's putting up 25 stacks that Austin Riley will have 7 or more hits and 2 or more home runs. He has put up 25 stacks that the Orioles will win 3 or more games and win one series. I should put 1 or more series for Vegas. Unless, I won't, because maybe he thinks they're only going to win one series. I don't know. So I'm not going to speak on behalf of him.
It should be understood as 1 to more. If they win 2, I think he still gets the win. So
yeah. And then his last bet, we'll see. This didn't work out for him last time, so we'll see if it does this time. But Connor Norby and a group of Orioles, they got the call up to AA this past week. So kudos to those guys and everybody moving up to that next level. But he's putting up 10 stacks that Connor Norby will hit his first AA home run this week.
Okay, I like it.
Would love to see it, of course.
I love what Drew does with his bets. How he kind of gets into some weird ones. I like it. That makes it fun.
Yeah. He diversifies that portfolio as they.
Yeah, even though he's not on the podcast, we got to give him a shout out for that.
Yeah. We'll keep it light with him. So. All right. You want to throw? You got some ready? You want to throw out there?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of stacks to work with, so I'm going to keep it conservative and try and try and take the approach of little small wins to build up that bank account. So I'm going to take 20 stacks on. I'm going 20 stacks on. Oh dang! Well, who was I going to do? Jose Altuve. I want 20 stacks on Jose Altuve hitting. Are we good with 3 or more RBIs, or is that too low?
20 stacks. That's not. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, 20 stacks on 3 or more RBIs on the week for Jose Altuve.
Okay, love it. That'll take you down to 80. All right. So my stack bet, I'm going to make 2. I'm going to put up. So I don't feel right doing this. The Braves play 7 games this week, including tonight's game. I did not lock in any type of Braves stack bets prior to tonight's game. So I'm only going to operate on the 6 games after tonight. I just feel like that's not fair, especially they're currently winning 6-1. So,
noble of you.
But yeah. So, but I'm still gonna put up 50 stacks that the Braves will win 4 or more of those 6 games left. So again, not including tonight's game, Tuesday through Sunday. That'll be 3 more games against the Cardinals, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a weekend series against the Nationals, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 6 games in that stretch is what I'm going with there. And so 4 more. Sunday. And then I'm putting up 25 stacks that the Braves are going to have 4 or more All-Stars announced next week.
I like it.
So I don't know what number I just said, but I'm going to say 25.
Yeah, no, you said 25. Yeah.
Okay, so Braves have 4+ All-Stars announced. Now, I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure if they're doing pitchers on Sunday or not. So that bet may have to get pushed. Nonetheless, the Braves are going to have 4 more All-Stars. That's my bet. 25 stacks.
I like it.
So I've got 200. I've got 200 stacks. I'm putting up 75 of them. So I'm trying to make a little bit of a push here. So
I like it. Yeah,
we shall see. We'll see if Kenny and Robbie are stagnant this week. Probably will be, but we'll put them in the show notes below if they do give us some stack bets before tomorrow. So
we miss you, Kenny and Robbie, wherever you are.
Yeah, that's right. Hope they're listening this much into the podcast. So, all right, my friend. Well, that brings us to kind of the wrap up here. So, any last closing thoughts you want to share before we head out?
No, I just think, All-Star game and Home Run Derby, that time of year is a lot of fun. So we're getting close to that, which is good. Hope everybody's having a good 4th of July. it's always a fun holiday, and I'll be kind of coming to you guys next couple weeks in a form of transition. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully here soon. Coming to you guys live from Florida. That's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. Well, we will certainly eagerly be following along with that transition. Looking forward to you getting down to Florida. Hopefully, it's got to be a little cooler than Louisiana, maybe, right?
It is, yeah. It's like the thing is, like the humidity is lower, and you got more. At least where we're gonna be, you got more of a breeze from the ocean. So yeah,
love it.
It's cooler. It's definitely more manageable, which is gonna be beautiful. I can't wait for that.
Sweet. Well, we'll be following along there. Echo, you looking forward to the All-Star break, looking forward to the Home Run Derby, looking forward to the Braves winning some more baseball games. So hopefully that continues, and I would love for the Braves to overtake the Mets for that division lead by the All-Star break, and smooth sail that on into 5 straight divisions, I think is what it would be. So yeah, highly looking forward to that. So
yeah, man.
Well, as always, everyone, we appreciate the support, and we appreciate you tuning in with us. As always, you can tune in and email us at firsttothirdpod@gmail.com. That is the word first, the number 2, the word third, and then pod@gmail.com. Also invites you to follow us on our socials on Instagram and Twitter. We're trying to get out a lot of content out there for you guys and engage with the community. And then, as always, we appreciate any support that you can give to our channel here. So we ask that you just like and subscribe to us so that you don't miss any of the updates and stuff coming out. And as always, we appreciate you tuning in. For Barrick, myself, and the rest of the guys that couldn't be with us, we appreciate it. And we'll talk with you guys here soon. Peace.
Yeah. See you guys. Peace.